Well, hello. Welcome to Only Facts Media with your host, creator, my second major YouTube channel, or will be. For me, this is the be all and end all. If this doesn't work out, I will endeavour to do something else to 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 get my goals set, shall we say. We have some continent driving to do, continent hopping to do. Basically, Europe is the first port of call, and that is this summer. I'll give you a lowdown. I want to compare post Brexit UK to the rest of Europe. Its democracies, how they work, its schools, its hospitals, everything. Everything I'm allowed to get into. I may have to fib my way into certain institutions, but I will get in. And I will find out is the UK really in as bad shape as they say it is. I believe it is. I believe the UK has never been in worse shape. The migrant crisis isn't just in the UK, it is all across Europe. Now there's an island, it's either off the coast of Italy or in the shoehorn of Italy, near Sicily. Lampula or Lampala, along them lines. I will find out for you and come back with you on that one. I will be visiting there. Apparently, it is absolutely crammed with male African migrants. You cannot move for migrants. So a migrant or two migrants, a Scotsman and an Englishman walking around with two roads, putting it in migrants' faces, who knows how they will take that. Personally, I don't really care how they like it or not. If they talk English, then they will understand my questioning, won't they? If they don't talk English, then I will move on to the next one who does. I'll ask them what what they're doing there, what they're doing in Europe, where they're heading. Who bets on 75% at least say they want to come to the UK? I think so. And they get away with it. If they manage to get to France, they pay their money to the people traffickers, they will get into the country. That's just the way it is. Until we leave the ECHR, the European Court for Human Rights, we cannot deport these illegal immigrants. They now, this is what NGOs, right? NGOs are supposed to be seen as these great people who help out the vulnerable and help out, poor African migrants. African migrants where only 16% of last year's 1 million illegals who arrived in this country. 1 million. 16% are working. And I expect them 16% have trades, have skills that the country requires. So if we had a system where only migrants who had a skill the country needed, requires, 100% would be working, wouldn't they? Or close to. But oh no. For some reason, this government doesn't seem to think that's a wise idea. I wonder why that is. Well, I'm going to be knocking on doors. where you can knock on your councillor's door. I'll be doing it all around the country where I'm allowed. I'll be doing it in Scotland. I'll be doing it in Dundee, where my Scottish compadre. I'll be doing it here in my home city, where migrants have started appearing. I've had run-ins with them, aggressive. When you pick them up on keeping my pensioner mother up to 4 a.m. in the morning. One tried intimidating me, one too many times, until I stuck up for myself and said, look mate, if you want me to welcome you to England, let's go for a walk into the English meadow there. He said, what do you mean? I said, follow me and I'll fucking show you. And I am not joking. I box. I mix martial art. And I'm not a bad street fighter. I will not be intimidated by these people who like to intimidate. They scared my mum. My mum is barely 5 foot, just over 5 foot. She's tiny. And she's feisty, but she's getting on. She's 68 this year, bless her. She doesn't need this shit. Whose bright idea at the council was it to put migrants above my mum? Oh, that's really well done, council. You need commending on that one. Whoever came up with that idea. There's plenty. They even said to me, once they found out I live around the corner, do I want to swap? I said, no, I fucking don't. But don't insult me by asking again. I like living around the corner from my mother, but I don't want to live above her. Anyway, so I've talked in previous videos about Europa, or Opat, but Deutsch für. I can speak German. Warum die Stadt bitte? Bitteschön. You see, the Germans, like the English, just like the English, they like you to make the effort. Even if you can't speak their language, most Europeans appreciate some sort of effort. Ask any European, maybe not the really young, but my age group, I'm in my almost bang on mid-40s. I'm 44, right? I appreciate it. I effing hate it when I hear people not talking English in England when they can. I think they try and do it to outsmart us, but what they don't seem to realise and understand with me is apart from being a YouTuber, I have certain other skills. I have a distinction in body language and psychology. So I can read people very well. It's like a sign language. Body language is sign language. So I read these people pretty well. So I am looking for an invitation, or I will just contact them directly. I've seen plenty of them on YouTube recently. And I've always wanted to go to South Africa, right? But now I heard this excellent. In fact, let me put it on my laptop and just let you just listen to this. Hey, so what you're going to hear now is the current state of South Africa.
These bulky and uncomfortable hearing aids cost £2,000 to £5,000. They're effective, which is why people with hearing...
Rob Herzog of South Africa, one of the beautiful things of coming to this conference is you meet people from all over the world. Everyone is going through their own experience, kind of personally and politically in their own countries. South Africa suddenly has gotten on the American map a little bit in the last week or so. But before we get to that, maybe if you could just give me a kind of 1 minute bio on who you are, how you sort of got into public life, and then we can get the issue.
Sure, I'm 64 years old. I'm fifth generation South African, and I was born into real wealth in South Africa. My grandfather founded a big mining industrial business, and I spent my education in South Africa. I did university there, and I spent 2 years as an infantry officer in the South African Defense Force in the old days. Then I went to America, Goldman Sachs, Harvard Business School, and then I worked as Rupert Murdoch's right-hand man for 3 years in New York.
Not bad.
To Europe, wow, more corporate life, founded Marquis Jet Europe, sold it in NetJet, and did various entrepreneurial things, and failure, success, and in 2017, after 31 years overseas, I went back to South Africa. And in addition to business, I became an accidental activist, a capitalist activist. I made a speech 3.5 years ago that went viral, calling out the government, and once I survived "you're a racist" card, because a lot of...
No. Someone who speaks up against the audacity of wokeness. Now, he explains that we think we have woke in the West. Well, that is nothing compared to the wokeness you're just about to listen to.
Political people said, you may not like him, but he's not a racist. I have kept going, and I've become probably the only business person standing up and speaking out against the ANC government.
So talk to me about the ANC government and what has kind of put this now on the map from an American perspective, where South Africa is just not on the long list of countries that we talk about that often.
Well, I'm glad America's noticed. I really am, because we're on the edge of going into the abyss. The ANC, the Liberation ANC, in 1994, took control of the country. And they've been running the country with more than 50% of the vote for the last 30 years. And only last year, in 2024, in May, did they drop below 50% and were forced to form, it's not even a coalition, it's a group of political parties that are that have no mission statement and are not doing very much. But the ANC is no longer in control. But for 30 years, if you look at every single metric, health, education, employment, the country has gone backwards. Every state-owned enterprise has been bankrupted. South African Airways used to be the best airline in Africa, bankrupt. Eskom, Electricity Supply Commission, we don't have enough electricity. We have load shedding, which means 4, 5, 6 hours a day we have no electricity.
Can you believe that? For 4 to 5 hours a day, a country like South Africa, Johannesburg, Cape Town, Durban, these fantastic cities have no electricity. They must run on backup generators, who knows?
The rail network's destroyed. The ANC has destroyed our country, and it is a racist, kleptocratic, and ineptocratic government.
So let's talk about the racist part, because obviously that's still, unfortunately, the word of the day. It's a little hard, I think, from an American perspective, for people to realize that a government could truly govern I guess it's not that hard in some sense, but that could govern in an actual racist manner when it comes to who's getting what services and what land, et cetera, et cetera.
140 race-based laws in South Africa, all anti.
Now, you wait till you listen to some of this. And you try and tell me that a white man cannot be... Apparently, the colour of my skin, colour of these two gentlemen's skin, Dave Rubin and this fantastic entrepreneur, ex-Goldman Sachs, you name it, Rupert Murdoch's #2, hell of a career. Are you trying to tell me we can't be racist when you listen to this?
Be white. And 8 days ago, Cyril Ramaphosa, our president, signed into law, and just hear these 3 words: expropriation without compensation. And this is just the straw that broke the camel's back. There's been endless laws, anti-white, boiling us like a frog in a bowl. And all I can say is thank you, America, and thank you, Donald Trump, for taking notice, because we are on the edge of the socialist abyss.
So how do you guys get out of this? Obviously, there's a complex racial history there. How do you reverse some of this? I mean, that's an awful lot of...
I mean, people can point at the apartheid, right? But I'm pretty sure the apartheid weren't even this bad. I have to double check on that. But maybe they were. Maybe they weren't. But this is horrific.
Laws and...
I don't think we can internally. We have to wait till the 2029 national election, and I don't think our economy will survive. It requires some external dynamic to change it. And I think Donald Trump in America taking notice and coming in swinging with a baseball bat may be that dynamic we need.
So when you saw over the last couple of years in America wokeness infecting our systems, and suddenly we were
Listen to this.
on race, and we were putting it into it was this very people who said we were systemically racist that were putting racism into the system in a systemic way. Must have given you a little concern about the direction we're going, as much as that's now been rolled back.
Well, we've been infected in South Africa with the evil woke mind virus, way more than in America. We've got it ×2, and there's no momentum in South Africa.
Did you hear that? They have the woke mind virus ×2. Can you imagine how bad that is? But as white, get the fuck out. Unless you visit the place I'm going to visit.
Reverse it. In fact, it's quite the opposite. So it's been like a miracle that Trump got elected, and he's making these decisions to reverse this wokeness, because, you know, South Africa needs a big wake-up call, and it isn't going to come internally.
What were those 3 words? It was expropriation.
Expropriation without compensation.
Listen to this.
In essence, they're taking farms.
Well, they can.
Yeah.
So they haven't implemented it yet. It's been signed into law.
Yeah.
And it's not just farmland, it's property. They can take the watch off my arm, and they barely need to justify it. I mean, I liken it to having a loaded gun in the bedroom with kids running around. At some point, somebody's going to pull the trigger, and that's what this law is. And there's so many other laws in South Africa that are anti-white, race-based, and make it almost impossible for businesses to thrive. But worst of all, we're at less than 1% economic growth, less than 1%, and we have the highest unemployment in the world.
That's not sustainable.
40%.
Did you just hear that? 1% growth, 40% of their population are unemployed. I wonder how many of the whites are unemployed. I'd like to say 0. It's probably not true, but I bet a majority of the white people work.
It's unsustainable. And the only way to reverse that is to have, you know, a complete change of plan. You know, we need a Malay. So we need to have a Malay or a Trump.
Or a Trump. So when Trump put out that post on Truth Social about a week ago, basically saying that, you know,
I've spoken to some black South Africans recently, and they love Donald Trump. But can you imagine? I've seen rallies that's kill the white man, kill the white man, kill the white man. I'm not joking. They fucking hate white people. These are the sort of people we should be giving asylum to. Not these 16% out of 100 who have jobs. 16% out of 1 million people. So what does that mean they're on? They put up in hotels on the taxpayers' money, just like they have been in America. They also are number 1 on the housing list. Well, I have a clip for you from... I have a staggering clip from Great Yarmouth in a minute to show you.
in essence, that it was basically, I don't want to paraphrase it, but something to the effect of white people are being treated unfairly. I mean, that was basically the thrust of it. What do you want him to do? Okay, so it's on the map now. So what do you want to come of it?
He needs to, and I'm very grateful he's focused on us, and I want to thank all the Americans for this. He needs...
By the way, this guy, I'm going to look him up hard and see if I can get him on a podcast soon. He intrigues me. He will tell me exactly what I let myself in for by going there. And I certainly won't be wearing my watch in public.
Needs to force the ANC government to reverse these racial laws. Do you know that most African countries have Starlink? Elon Musk.
Isn't this?
We don't, because we have a law that every business in South Africa has to have 30% black ownership. And Elon Musk said, I'm not handing over 30% because I have to. We don't have Starlink.
It's insane.
So
It's crazy.
pressure America and Trump can put on South Africa, I think they need to do, but need to go way further than tariffs and cancelling AGOA agreements. They need to focus on sanctions and please put all the bad guys, the leaders of the ANC, EFF, which is very bad news, and MK parties, put them on the terrorist list, put them on the no travel list, ban their bank accounts, put maximum pressure on South Africa, because China won't come to the rescue of the ANC. China is not going to pick a fight with America over South.
Did you hear that? China are the biggest backers of South Africa. But they're not going to fuck with Donald Trump. Who does fuck with Donald Trump? Not many. If any at all.
South Africa, they'll back off. And remember, the ANC government has been bribed by Iran to file the case against Israel in the International Court of Justice, paid by Iran. So our ANC government has poked America in the eye for the last 15 years, voted against America on every issue in the United Nations, and it's payback time.
Tell me one great thing about your country.
The people. The two richest people in Los Angeles are South African born. Elon Musk, Patrick Soon-Chong. We are the best entrepreneurs
we've got
in the
it
world.
now. We've
You
got
got
it
them. You
now.
keep taking them.
Yeah.
I don't blame them for going. But thank you, America, for everything you're doing.
Yeah.
Keep it up. Up the pressure, please.
Thank you. I've enjoyed this.
Dave, thank you.
If you're looking for more eye-opening and world...
Well, that was Dave Rubin. If you don't know, the Rubin Report, absolutely brilliant. So, there we go. That is the state of South Africa and their rancid, racist government, the ANC, and some other malarkey who they've had a sort of coalition with, because for the first time in 30 years they've dropped below 50% in opinion polls, and at the last election. Their next election is when our next election should be. And I think big change is coming. Now, as much as the black man hates the white man, and that is clear as day, well, their government sure does. And I think a majority of the black population are completely blindsided and propagandized into believing their bullshit. I loved what he said of we have double wokeism. How on earth can you have double wokeism? Oh my days. That is scary, isn't it? Scary, scary. So, where am I heading in South Africa? I've always wanted to go to Cape Town to see Table Mountain. So I'm going to go to South Africa. It'll be the only time I go there. While the state of the country is in the state it's in. Until it changes, I will not want to be going back there. But the main reason I'm going back there is to see Table Mountain and then I will be heading. Let's have a little look at the map, shall we? Okay, so South Africa. So I believe Cape Town is maybe Swaziland. No, that's not South Africa, is it? It's north. I know that. The place I'm heading to is a place called Orania. Now you could say it's racist because they only accept white people who live there, but only a specific kind of white people. Now they have, I don't see how you can call it racist because it's just for Afrikaner people. That is their number one language taught in their schools, and I think English is second. They speak very good English. I cannot wait to visit Orania. I think I'll be staying for about a week with my cameraman, with my IT guy. It's glorious there. I think they have a population of 3,000 people, and you have to see it to believe it. I will do a little documentary that I might have to steal off someone. If I get copyrighted for it, I get copyrighted for it. It's a fantastic place. It's absolutely picturesque and it's beautiful. But they get criticized because of the celebration of the history. Some, they're busks, an area of busks, and it's like in a circle. But you can't see over the mountain into the future. And that is the way it's set up. It is in the past. Right? Very special place. You could call it an Africana ethno farming city. Everyone has built their own home, or everyone chips in and helps build. There is a couple there, 81 and 82 years old. They built their own house. How cool is that? And it is beautiful. They do Airbnbs there, so I'll be staying in an Airbnb. There's one of the biggest rivers in South Africa. I think it's crop-free. So if I go in the summertime, it will be refreshing and beautiful to swim in. They also have something that used to be all around South Africa in the past, and that is the public swimming pool. They have them in Australia. They tell you not to go in them in Australia because the Aboriginals tend to use them as baths. which is disgusting. Yeah, basically, they have swimming competitions there. They have all sorts, but you can just go and have a swim there. It has to be seen to be believed. I don't think an English YouTuber has been there yet. I know Americans have been there. I know South Africans. I know a black South African YouTuber has been there. So they don't. Black people aren't banned from visiting, but they are not welcome to live there because they are not Afrikaner like me. Who knows? I might have some Afrikaner in me. I'll find out on my DNA test. So, whenever I get the opportunity to go there, even if it's halfway through the European trip, what me and my friend will do is ditch everything we're doing in Europe to go and make a week-long documentary in Orania. I'll be reaching out to Orania. I would love to bring my facts only YouTube channel to show facts only, not bullshit, no racism, just facts. That's all it takes. You just heard that gentleman there. I'm going to find out more about who he is and see if he'd be willing to talk to me about the state of South Africa. 40% unemployment. I just can't get over it. 1% growth in the economy. 40%. It's blown my mind a little bit. Anyway, thank you for joining me once again on Only Facts. You can see things are changing. In between, I'm just about to get my first car I've had in years. So I'll be back on the road. I'm actually going to finish this documentary in Scotland, in Dundee. Me and my friend, it'd be August time, so it'd be beautiful weather, even in Scotland. And we're going to go on a camping trip. Maybe a few Airbnbs in between. I've always wanted to see Loch Ness and some various other sites. Desperate to go to Edinburgh. I know it's the London of Scotland, price-wise. So maybe just a couple of days. Because we have to watch our pennies. Money. Anyway, this beautiful world is going to... I'm not turning this into a travel channel, by the way. I have my reasons to go to Europe and travel around, see the differences between the UK, France, Holland, Germany, Poland, the Slavic countries. It's a different world. A completely different world. And if you don't believe me, you'll see. After each part has has been finished, edited, it will be released. It will be released on my Patreon first. And once I reach 1,000 subscribers, you can join my YouTube channel, probably for as little as $1.99 or $2.99. I don't feel I have the right to charge any more than that. And anyone who signs up will obviously get access to the documentaries first. After about 2 weeks or a month, they will then be released on my normal YouTube channel. Anyway, peace, love, and I'll see you soon, guys.